Representative Andre Carson wants to be the leader of the U.A.P. caucus, and a whole lot more. We got a lot to talk about today. It's time for another UFO News Roundup, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, this is from a conversation between Matt Laszlo, reporter Matt Laszlo, and Democratic Representative Andre Carson.
Topic we always talk about. Hearing any update on the U.A.P. stuff in there? Well, because it's interesting, because Turner and Himes seem to oppose it, but you got Schumer fighting for it with Rubio over there.
Right. You mentioned the Republicans want to start a select committee?
It's bipartisan. They want to select U.A.P. committee. But Moskowitz is on it, Mace.
They've already created it?
Burchett. No, they're calling for it. They kind of say that.
I wonder who they're going to have as ranking member. I mean,
you want it? I see that thumb. Well, it's interesting because it was kind of rejected by McCarthy, but then Johnson seems open to it. It feels like their whole party's in this transition phase, which puts the rest of us in this transition phase.
You know, my concern is that our adversaries are always listening for context clues, and I don't want them to take advantage of an open hearing regarding these national security.
Yeah. Interesting. But you want to be at that table. I can't think of a better guy. Here we go, sir.
Nice for you.
Okay, there you go. Andre Carson giving a thumbs up to being the leader of the U.A.P. caucus. At the same time, of course, it is entirely possible he was joking about this. But he did take time to talk to Matt Laszlo about this issue. He did not seem very informed on the issue. He thought that it was all Republicans and that maybe the select committee had already been established. So clearly he doesn't really know the current state of things, which is unfortunate since he is on the inside talking about this issue. You would hope that he would educate himself on the topic. He also expresses the opinion that secrecy should be maintained because we don't want our adversaries seeing anything that we don't want them to see. So a pro-secrecy guy that doesn't know what's really going on as the leader of the U.A.P. caucus doesn't sound super encouraging, so hopefully he was just joking with a thumbs up. In other news, Ross Coulthart tweets, "Nothing to hide. Space Force says documents on fast walkers and slow walkers all exempt from disclosure." What? How can that be exempt from disclosure? This is from the Black Vault. The Space Force says documents on fast walkers and slow walkers exempt from disclosure. The U.S. Space Force has issued a full denial in response to a FOIA request seeking information on fast walkers and slow walkers. This request, filed by the Black Vault in July 2023, asked for all procedures and manuals, either present or past, that reference these terms. The Space Force's refusal to disclose this information under FOIA exemption, Section 1.1a, raises questions about the secrecy surrounding these phenomena, especially in light of the recent openness of other government branches regarding unidentified objects, more commonly referred to as UAP. Before delving into the details, it's crucial to understand what fast walkers and slow walkers are, and I think we can figure that out. But I will link to this article below. It is really discouraging that they are putting up this stone wall. I had kind of hoped that the Space Force, as a newly minted operation that has talked about UAP a little bit more openly recently, maybe it wouldn't have had time to be co-opted by the UFO control group, and that the cover-up wouldn't be as firmly in place at Space Force. But perhaps the cover-up has descended upon the Space Force just as it descended upon Arrow, another recently created organization. So there you go. Not encouraging from Space Force, but good on you for John Greenwald for getting us this information. I certainly have my issues with John, but hats off to him for getting us this very important information. Meanwhile, on an episode of Calling All Beings, this isn't a new video, but it's not that old. Garry Nolan talks about his own remote viewing experience. And, if you're a remote viewing skeptic, I totally understand. I used to be there myself until I researched the topic thoroughly and was convinced of its validity. And then later on, actually experienced remote viewing, not as a remote viewer myself, but working with remote viewers. And it's a real thing. It is a real thing, guys. It's amazing. And here is Garry Nolan talking about his own experience.
There's nobody who's going to tell me it didn't happen.
Like remote viewing from your dreams.
I did a remote viewing once with Ed May, and that blew me away. Totally blew me away. He, basically had me do one, and I was like, either this was a magician's trick extraordinaire, but what I saw was what he had randomly predicted to show up 10 minutes in the future on his computer. So, and that convinced me. But what was cool about that moment was realizing that the signal that people talk about has a flavor to it. There's something different about the signal than your everyday moments of consciousness. And so I've begun to recognize that signal when, let's say, moments of intuition occur. That I know that I should pay attention to this because it came from somewhere else somehow. It's an anomalous signal that came from somewhere. And so, those are kind of the things that I walk away with and remember. So
fascinating. So Garry Nolan is a remote viewer. He's also an alien contactee, and he's talked about that before since he was a child, seeing beings in his bedroom. So he is likely an abductee or contactee, and he has remote viewing abilities. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has other abilities as well. And he openly talks about the woo in connection to UFOs. So hats off to him as such a prominent researcher and scientist talking about the weirder aspects of UFOs. A lot of people don't want to go there. They don't want to, research the strangeness, the high strangeness associated with UFOs. But they are associated with UFOs. It is associated with UFOs. And we're never going to understand UFOs unless we're willing to explore the strange. That's why I cast a broad net in my own research, and I try to represent some of that to you guys on the channel because I want to know what the heck is going on, but we're never going to know what that is by only focusing on one slice. Meanwhile, check this out. Deleted video from YouTuber who witnessed the recovery operation of the Alaska U.A.P. shootdown in February 2023. So he is seeing what he believes is the recovery operation for this event. And there's a plane flying over the snowy wastes of Alaska. And, he was able to see what he believes is a recovery operation. And he talks about various vehicles and, a fairly robust operation that seemed to be taking place to retrieve this balloon, right? Because that's what they wanted us to believe. They also wanted us to believe they called off the search for it, and because of the weather conditions. But it's a clear day there. I mean, it's cold, but it's a clear day. So I'm not buying that. And they used the same excuse on all three events after that first Chinese spy balloon or whatever it was. Interestingly, Ross Coulthart has reported that before this shoot down in Alaska, there was actually a series of events in the preceding days. And that at least in one event, jets were scrambled to go after one of these UFOs. And it eluded them easily. So it's interesting that they were able to shoot it down on this other occasion, and they were able to shoot the others down after the first one eluded them so easily. And, why are they able to shoot some of them down sometimes and not others? They are so fast and maneuverable and can manipulate our technology, shut our technology down But still, sometimes we seem to be able to take them down. And when I say that, I don't say that in a positive way. We don't know who we're taking down. We, the general public, doesn't know who the UFO control group is shooting at. We could be shooting at the good guys, and the UFO control group could be working with the bad guys, involving humanity in some sort of cosmic conflict that we may not want to be involved in. So, yeah, yes, yet another reason for UFO disclosure. We need to expose what's going on and very possibly correct it. There's not a whole lot in the video as far as proof goes. A lot of people are taking this seriously. It's getting some play. Who knows? Who knows? I think that he's being sincere and he's probably showing us real information. But there's not a lot of he doesn't have a UFO being loaded aboard a truck. So, it's hard to say for sure, but, good on him for getting this information out there. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Meanwhile, Newsweek has a favorable article about UFOs. The UFO mysteries scientists can't solve. What? Newsweek talking about UFOs and actually not sneering about it? It's amazing. The sky is not classified, said Avi Loeb, a Harvard University professor leading the first major scientific study of what we most commonly know as UFOs. Just a touch sharp. The theoretical astrophysicist, blah, 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 blah. You get the point. It's taking us through it. It's taking us through a favorable view of UFOs. It's crazy. It's not science fiction anymore. That's nuts. We have mainstream news talking about UFOs in a favorable light, not bringing on debunkers to debunk it, but actually saying, hey guys, it's not science fiction anymore. And I think that's why Avi Loeb is so valuable to ufology. No, he's not going to make any major breakthroughs. He's not going to advance our understanding of the UFO phenomenon, but he is getting the mainstream engaged. He is a very approachable, very mainstream figure, Harvard scientist, easy manner, does good interviews, and he can get the mainstream, and in particular the mainstream media, on board with the UFO phenomenon in ways that others probably wouldn't. Meanwhile, did you know that yesterday was the 38th anniversary of the events that took place in Communion? Whitley Strieber's famous book, probably the most famous, UFO abduction experience of all time. And, there was the movie with Christopher Walken, great movie. And I've read multiple of Whitley Strieber's books, and they're all, they're terrific. The insights that he provides into the phenomenon and his own ongoing experiences. This picture in that book brought a whole bunch of experiencers out. It helped them recall their experiences, and it allowed them, Whitley's story gave them the courage to come forward and start talking about their own experiences. So a hugely important, hugely powerful book, and a series of experiences that are still ongoing today, and he's still chronicling them in his books, and they get weirder and weirder, but also more beautiful. So if you haven't read his recent books, particularly he has one called A New World, which is really mind-blowing. Oh, check this out. This is really interesting. Did you know there is a connection in the architecture of the pyramids in Mexico, Egypt, and Indonesia? Not just the pyramidal structure, but these 3 doorways that are larger in the middle, and the 2 flanking doorways are smaller. And some are, drawing a connection to the famous Da Vinci painting of the Last Supper, showing similar windows there, or similar shapes there, windows there and doorways there. I don't know if that's actually connected or just an artistic flourish. But what really struck me is these guys right here, how close they are in design. So, I mean, some people want to say, oh, well, a pyramid is just a handy way to stack some stones, right? And that's why there's pyramids all over the world. Well, not so fast, because it's not just the shape of the pyramid, but the base. Isn't that amazing? Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. And I'll leave you with this encouraging quote from Lue Elizondo, who says, "Happy holidays to all. Wishing you a happy and healthy holiday and new year ahead. Truth is prevailing and will continue to do so in 2024. It's going to be an exciting year ahead," says Lue Elizondo as he begins to start wrecking some furniture. I love it. I can't wait to see what he does. I love this picture of him and E.T. sitting together. That's awesome. So let me know what you think he meant by an exciting year to come. What exactly are we going to see? Whistleblowers? Are we going to see direct evidence? Are we going to see a UFO or a video of a UFO in government custody, or people working on a UFO, or, biologics, as David Grush says? What do you think we are going to see in 2024 that is going to be so gangbusters? Personally, I'm thinking we'll get more witnesses to these programs. Maybe we'll get the Virginia pilot, and we might get a few more videos that people will continue to debate over, but hopefully those videos will get more and more compelling. But who knows, guys? Maybe we will get even more than that. So let me know what you think and what you're expecting in the new year in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the bell to be notified of future videos, all that kind of stuff. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, please consider becoming a channel member. See the link below, or by buying some merch in the merch store below. There are plenty of other videos to check out on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.